So in this video, we're going to go ahead and download and install IntelliJ IDEA, which is the program we're going to be using to edit programs in this course. So we need to go to the website jetbrains.com. Once we get to this site, we can click on IDEs, or we can come down here to IntelliJ IDEA, click on either option. We then want to click on download to enable us to download the software. Close this little box. Now we've got an option here. We've got two choices when we decide to download IntelliJ IDEA. We've got the Community Edition or the Ultimate Edition. Now the advantages of both are that the Community Edition is free. You'll never have to pay a cent for that. So if you're happy to use the Community Edition, by all means just go ahead and download that. If you want the Ultimate Edition, which has got a few other bells and whistles and some extra functionality, what you can do is you can normally get a 30-day free trial of the Ultimate Edition. I can extend that and show you how to get a 90-day free trial of that, and you can always choose to revert back to the Community Edition in the future if you like. So the choice is yours as to which option you choose. In this video, I'm going to go ahead and download the Community Edition. So I've clicked on the download button. After a moment, the program should start downloading, or at least the installation script should. So I'm now going to pause the video until the download's completed and come back, and then we'll continue on. You can see it's just about finished downloading now. And now that it's downloaded, I can click on Run to run the installer. Depending on which browser you're using, you may need to navigate to the folder where you save the file. In any event, you need to start that. In my case, I'm just going to click on Run. Click on Yes. I'm going to go through the IntelliJ Community Edition Setup Wizard. And again, if you're installing the Ultimate Edition, you'll see something very similar on your screen. In this case, I'm going to select the default directory to store the IntelliJ software in. Click on Next. Click on Java. Now, if you've got a 32-bit version of Windows, you'll want to click on the 32-bit launcher. And that's a new feature that has come out recently with IntelliJ IDEA. Now, if you're not sure which, whether your computer is a 32 or a 64-bit, just go into the control panel. So in my case, I'm on Windows 10. I'm going to click on the Windows icon, and I'm going to click on Settings. Now, depending on your version of Windows, it might be called Control Panel. In any event, you just want to get into Control Panel or Settings, and then we want to do a search for System. And there should be, sometimes there'll be an option that will say, see if you have a 32 or 64-bit version of Windows. You can click on that if you've got that, and scroll down if necessary. And this tells me that my system type is a 64-bit operating system. So if that was the case for me, then coming back over here, I wouldn't click on the 32-bit launcher. I would only click on 32-bit launcher if it actually said my system type was 32-bit. Now, if you don't happen to see that option in your control panel or settings, you can also just do a search for System. Usually System will be there on every version of Windows, and that will give you a different display, but you should also then be able to see the system type. And in this case, again, it confirms it's 64-bit. So if yours says 32-bit, close this down now, then you would click on the 32-bit launcher. If it says 64-bit, as mine did, then you would leave that disabled, in other words, unchecked. And I've enabled Java. Depending on what software you're going to be using, whether you're using Python or Java, you may want to create associations. And what that means is that when you click on a file that ends with that file name, in this case .java, is going to automatically open up in the IntelliJ IDEA product. So I'm going to select that anyway. Click on Next. Click on Install. And you can see it's going ahead now and installing IntelliJ on our computer. So I did fast forward that. That generally does take a little bit longer than what you saw on the screen there. But eventually, depending on the speed of your computer, you'll find that, well, no matter what, no matter how slow it is, it'll eventually work. You'll find that all files have been installed. And the next button will change to Finish, as you can see down the bottom there. And it'll say Run IntelliJ IDEA. And it'll say Community Edition, obviously, if you've downloaded the Community Edition, or it'll just say IntelliJ IDEA if it's the Ultimate Edition. So I'm going to click on that because I do want to run that for the first time, and click on Finish. This little option comes up, and we can choose whether we want to import our settings from a previous version of IntelliJ IDEA. Now, in most cases, this is probably the first time you've installed this on your computer. So if that's the case, you can click on this option here, or do not have a previous version of IntelliJ IDEA, which was actually the default, and click OK. We then need to accept the privacy policy agreement. And next we've got sort of a mini wizard that comes up for the very first time that we install IntelliJ. Now it's coming up asking us firstly, what is the theme? Would we like a white background or a dark background? My personal preference generally is the darkular, which is the dark background, because I find that easier to look at the screen for long periods of time, but it's a personal preference. So just choose whichever one you'd like there, noting that you can always go back into settings at a future time and change that setting if you find that it's not appropriate. Click on Next. Now, one of the cool things that IntelliJ does or gives you the capability of is to program in many different programming languages. As a result, it's allowing us or giving us the option to customize IntelliJ IDEA for these other languages. Right now, I'm not going to select anything on this screen because we really only want to go ahead with the language in this course. So I'm just going to click on Next. And there's a few other options there that are optional that we're not going to be using. So at this point, I can click on Start using IntelliJ IDEA. So at this point, the base version of the installation has finished. And if you downloaded and installed the Community Edition, you can in fact skip the rest of this video and move on to the next one. The rest of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get your 90-day coupon code so you can use the extended trial version of the IntelliJ Ultimate Edition for 90 days. So again, if you've got the Community Edition and you've downloaded that, you can skip the rest of this video and move on to the next one. Otherwise, if you've got the Ultimate Edition, watch the rest of this video so that I can show you how to get your 90-day coupon code activated to get that full 90-day trial version of the Ultimate Edition. So if you've followed the instructions in this section in an earlier lecture, I gave you the steps required to get a coupon code. And once you've followed those steps, you'll get an email back from me that'll look similar to what you can see on the right-hand side, and it'll have your unique coupon code. So you need to take a copy of that coupon code and just copy it because we're going to need to paste it in the next step. So the next thing you need to do is proceed to the JetBrains.com website. So go to JetBrains.com, and once you get there, click on the Store option and then JetBrains Toolbox, as you can see highlighted on the screen. Once that pops up, you'll need to select your country on the drop-down box, then select for individual customers, then make sure new subscription is selected as well as pay monthly. But don't worry, this is going to be free, but I'll show you how to do that as we proceed. At this point, scroll down until you see the IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate entry. You can see that on the screen there to the left. Click the Buy Now button next to it to proceed. When the next page pops up, enter your email address, and this is where JetBrains will send your 90-day trial code to you, so make sure it is a valid one. Click on Next. So once you've entered your email address, you'll be asked to select the customer for this purchase. So you want to normally select New Customer if it hasn't already been selected for you, and then select your country in the drop-down box. Click on Next to proceed. In the order checkout page, make sure monthly is selected, as you can see it is on the screen here, and then fill in your details on the address, city and postcode fields. And while still being on that same screen, you then want to apply the coupon code that we got in step 1. So you click on Have a Discount Code, and once you do that, the screen on the next slide will show up. You'll then paste in the discount code, which was the code that I gave you in step 1, and click on Apply Discount. So once you've entered the code, you'll see that you're now ready to purchase the subscription. It's now free and you've got a full 90-day trial. So you then need to scroll down and enter in your full name, click on the checkbox regarding the agreements, standard licensing agreements, then click on the Place Order button. After pressing the Place Order button, you'll get a confirmation that it's now been successfully processed, and an email will be sent to the email address you specified in an earlier step. You should then receive an email from JetBrains containing additional information on how to continue the setup. So you want to open that email. Once it's opened, you click on the Take Me to My Purchase button. And we now get to the stage of activating. So again, click on the Take Me to My Purchase button in the email. You get taken to a page back on JetBrains servers where you can manage your subscription. On the right hand side or somewhere on the page, there'll be a download activation code for offline use. You want to click on that to download the license key so that you can activate it by putting that code into IntelliJ IDEA. You want to open that document in an editor, text edit or notepad, depending on the operating system you're running. To make sure you do copy the entire text and not just the first line. You do need the entire amount of text to paste into IntelliJ. Now, if you're installing the Ultimate Edition of IntelliJ for the first time, IntelliJ will give you a pop-up window asking you to paste in the license code straight away. So if you do get that, select Activation Code and paste in the entire license key you got from the text file, and then press OK. Alternatively, if you've already evaluated the IntelliJ Ultimate trial, perhaps you've already started it and you've opened up IntelliJ, you may need to click on the Register button in the bottom left-hand corner to open up that page, which then allows you to paste in the code. So either way, you'll need to click on the activation code, paste in your code, and then click on OK. Once you do that, you're good to go because it's now been successfully licensed and you'll be able to use the IntelliJ Ultimate Edition for 90 days. So that's it. That's all the steps you need to take to get this activated. Let's move on to the next video.